Mina Aisatu Sise. The Ministry of Health and Sanitation, they continue for the status update about the COVID-19 in the country. Sierra Network then at the National Emergency Operations Center concerning the update. Let we listen to the official chairperson for the COVID-19 response team in the country, Solomon Jamiru, as they give the update and also respond to some questions.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's press briefing, the 29th of April 2020. We have the official spokesperson, Mr. Solomon Jamiru, and also we have subject matter experts, Major General Taluva, and also Professor Fodesa with us. And other subject matter experts will be expecting them to come whilst we are doing the press briefing. So we would ask the spokesperson to give the status update for today.
Thank you, Harold, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of us and to thank those who are also connected. And consistent with our pledge to keep the public informed about matters connected to COVID-19, EOC's updates for 28th April 2020 at 1800 hours yesterday did indicate the 5th COVID-related death. The good news is that that person is still alive and taking care at the treatment center. That publication was done in error, for which full responsibility is taken. Updates for 29th April 2020, 11 a.m. Total cumulative confirmed positive cases, 116. Total number of deaths, 4. Active new cases, 12. Active cases at isolation centers, 98. Cumulative recoveries, 14. Number currently in quarantine, 1,166. Number discharged from quarantine, 1,426. Harold.
Thank you very much. We will now take questions from the press. You give your name and your media house. We'll take rounds of 5 questions and then we'll give the responses.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes. I'm Wani Gauja from 1921. I'm interested in the 5th death case. That was an error. So I want to know what was the error. Was it misinformation or what?
Okay. Okay.
Next question.
Next.
Yes. Swali Okandi, I work for EY. I am worried. Worried because the EOC upon which we rely on to give us credible and factual information is misleading us. This is the second error of the EOC. The first was when a case was reported at Padema Road and the EOC told us that was not correct. The following morning they apologized. Yesterday we are being informed of a 5th death, of which we believe should have been checked properly before being made public. But we got the information, we shared it, and this morning we are told it's an error. I am worried.
Okay.
Next.
Anybody else in the virtual world? I'm not seeing any hand up. Yes, anybody here? Okay. Well, we'll respond to the 2 questions and then we'll continue. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll go straight to this. An error is an error, and as an institution, we wish not go into the standard operating procedures on our reporting, on transmission and reporting. An error was made, responsibility fully taken, and I think that should settle it. But that does not mean that the EOC is retracting its pledge to provide information to the public in a timely manner. To all intents and purposes, what has happened should be put within the wider context. And I think the wider parameters on public reporting would indicate that the EOC is doing a fantastic job. We get the commendation every day, we get the validation every day, and that encourages us as part of the wider chain in fighting COVID-19. As a responsible institution, I made sure that I did disclose this even to our BBC stringer before we came for the 11 a.m. update. That is demonstration enough on our part that we wish to be transparent at all times, we wish to be forthright at all times. And yesterday when we had the update, when AYV asked what happened because the previous day they had asked about the Pademba Road issue, and a staff or one of the medicals at EOC had said it had not happened, I was the first to say yes, I was privy to that question. And I said because of our SOPs, some things could not be done in public. But the good thing about EOC is we take responsibilities when errors are made. And when persons are honorable in society and they do so, I think it signifies trust, it builds confidence, it builds faith, and that is what defines us as an institution. That is who we are. And we are here to do the people's work. We are trustees of the people's resources, and we will make sure that everything we can do judiciously to satisfy the expectations placed upon us and the mandate conferred upon us, we will do so. But I think at this point it is important as a people that we continue to reach out and keep in our thoughts and in our prayers, first, those who have succumbed to the disease, the deaths that we have had, now confirmed to be 4, and to continue to keep in our prayers and thoughts those that have tested positive and at respective treatment centers. I think additionally, what we should be preoccupied with is to keep in our thoughts and our prayers the healthcare workers, those in direct contact with COVID-19, the ones who are risking their lives, who are making the ultimate sacrifices, our doctors, our pharmacists, our nurses, our community health officers. When we had Ebola and over 8,000 cases and over 3,000 deaths, including 221 healthcare workers, that was an unfortunate thing that happened. We know that they make the sacrifice, and we keep them dearly in our hearts. So I hope that this goes down as an institution. We'll continue to raise our heads high, that looking at the wider and broader parameters, we continue to do our work, and we pledge and reiterate our commitment to the people of Sierra Leone and the international community that nothing will take away from the credibility of this institution. It will continue to serve its purpose, and will continue to satisfactorily discharge the mandate that has been conferred upon it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any further questions?
Yes, maybe some clarifications on the e-pass. Sorry, Ovandi again. I want to know how effective and reliable this e-pass is going to be. Looking at Sierra Leone, in terms of technology, we are far behind. We need to understand it's going to be a phone that is going to be operated by security officers across various checkpoints. The first concern is, have we provided enough electricity for them to be charging those phones? That is my first concern. The second is, have they been taught as to how to operate these phones? Say for instance, I have my code, I arrive at a checkpoint. How will they verify that yes, this is indeed the original owner of this code that was given by EOC? So those are the few clarifications I want. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, can we? Yes, there are some questions from our Facebook page. Yema, can you read for us?
So this is a question from Ms. Kona Sebure. What standard PPE kits are you using for healthcare workers? Face masks and gloves are clearly not sufficient. Another question from Emmanuel Lemore, which I think has been asked earlier. He said, can you please tell us what led to the error? Thank you.
Thank you. So
Okay.
I'll speak to those issues briefly. First, on the error, I wish not to repeat myself, but I always believe that all over the world, even in the most credible of institutions, from Washington Post to CNN, from BBC to other highly respected international channels, including Al Jazeera, people retract information, and that doesn't mean they are not credible, and that doesn't mean they cannot be trusted. Every now and again, Donald Trump goes on air and he talks about fake news, even ascribing it to institutions that we hold dearly and we consider them to be highly respected. The EOC will not be an exception. The EOC was never designed to be a perfect institution. It is an institution that is constitutes of human beings, and human beings are not perfect. But what we can do is to assure members of the public that as much as we can, given the parameters and the resources that we do have, we'll make sure that we discharge our mandate satisfactorily. On the e-passes, we have issued a public notice containing our policies and procedures on e-passes, and we have listed essentially two categories. The first category being transporters of essential goods, comprising food items, water, medicine, fuel, and I think construction materials. For those ones that fall under that category would not require a pass, because we believe that we need those things dearly. The second category has to do with essential service providers, and the policies and procedures have advised that they would have to apply online. There is a third category which we anticipate. So for persons who would look at the two categories and they believe that their own specific activity or need may not be captured or provided for in either category A, category 1, or category 2, you could make your application to the coordinator of the EOC, and those applications will be looked into. As long as they have justification or merit, the necessary passes would be issued. With respect to the systems or mechanisms that we have to ensure that they are not subjected to abuse, well, no system is foolproof. The same way we did the card system, some persons tried to circumvent and they were doing some malfeasance. The same thing with technology, it is never foolproof. That is why from bank to bank all over the world, even with the highly placed technologies, you still have lapses. But what is important for us as citizens is to ensure that we cooperate with the government, with the systems that have been put in place. We all agree that an emerging best practice is technology. Technology defines systems, mechanisms, and institutions all over the world, and we believe that technology should be an integral part in the fight against COVID-19. When we had the 72-hour lockdown, EOC received over 1,000 applications. To process over 1,000 applications manually would require additional time and additional manpower. Quite apart from that, for those of you who are privy to the 72-hour lockdown, if you had come to the premises of the EOC, you would have discovered that you had a lot of people here and a lot of body-to-body contact, and you would have been asking yourself the question whether EOC is really serious about fighting COVID-19. How can they be discouraging people from body-to-body contact? How can they be canvassing social distancing? Yet when you go to the EOC itself, people are just congested. With the introduction of technology and the electronic pass system, those applications done online would reduce congregation, would reduce congestion, and I think once we start implementing practices of that nature, Sierra Leone will be commended as one of the countries that is embracing best practices complementary to the fight against COVID-19.
It's not only restricted to face masks and gloves, but the full PPE, including protective clothing, boots, boot covers, head covers, masks, and gloves. That's the standard PPE for handling of infectious diseases. That is what we provide for our healthcare workers.
Okay, thank you, sir. Do you have any?
No, but well, somebody asked about how our soldiers will recharge their phones whilst they are manning their checkpoint. I think we gave them phones, we gave them charger, and there's a means all over to recharge their phones. And we have taught them enough how to operate the phones. once somebody comes in with your code, we will now put in the code, and automatically the vehicle number, the driver's name, or whatever will show up, and then we check it against what is on ground, and then we'll allow you to go.
Okay, thank you, sir. Lamana, I see your hand up. Can you ask your question, please?
Yes, I have a question about case 90. The inmate, I understand even at yesterday, he was at the Connaught Hospital and it was difficult a bit for the doctors to handle him. So I want clarification if he has been moved to a treatment center. And also I want to ask the spokesman, how are communications or information processed before they are released to the public? How do you get them? Do you just speak to one person, or you discuss them and look at what the reality in it, whether it's an important? Because there's been a debate about your comment yesterday, how you referred to the woman yesterday as an individual who is homeless. I will not use that word actually. So I want to know, how do you process the information before you send it out to public, or sometimes you just give your opinion?
Okay, on the second front, I wish not to comment further, but I wish to state that as an institution, we continue to reiterate our pledge to do things in a professional and a timely manner. What may have happened yesterday is an isolated case within a wider chain, but as an institution, we believe that we have the necessary best practices. I believe that we have the experts. We'll continue to work with them. Wherever the error might have been, I don't think that is sufficient enough to castigate an institution. I don't believe that this is the time to play blame games. This is the time to be reprimanding who did this or who did what. Those ones would be handled internally. But I think the responsibility has been taken, and I think that is the most honorable thing that should be done at this point. So I wish not to get into the SOPs, because most of it in substantial part are security related as well. But as an institution, we will continue to put into the public domain what the public would need to know about, because we believe that when the public is informed, they become useful tools in helping them to fight COVID-19. Unless and until there is any information which, if put into the public domain, might existentially or potentially jeopardize public peace, public order, public health, or security. But generally speaking, unless for limited exceptional circumstances, it is the right of Sierra Leoneans to know, and it is our commitment to make sure that we provide the information. But I wish not get into the SOPs. With respect to the first on 90, at this point, I don't think I have any sufficient tool to speak to that, but your point is noted, and if there is anything of material importance, the public will be informed accordingly.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the second hand.
No, my question is whether he has been taken to a treatment center or still at Connaught Hospital.
That one is being facilitated. Whilst at Connaught Hospital, he is in isolation, being guarded by prison guards, not getting involved with other patients, but his movement to a treatment center is being facilitated.
Okay, yes, the second participant, the second hand, please. Al-Hussein.
Good morning, all. My concern here is about the inter-district lockdown. Of course, it's getting on well, but there are a lot of civil servants that are constrained now, especially civil servants that are living in this city that have not got commercial banks. They've been stranded, and most families are going hungry. What is the DOC doing to ensure that those banking systems are being moved to short districts that are not without commercial banks? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, okay. And then we have two other questions from Facebook. Emma, can you read them, please?
Okay, we have several comments and questions coming in, so I'll just randomly go through them. One says, are there policies in place to prevent the overinflation of the cost of basic foodstuff? And the other is asking how many tests have been done to date. And then the comment as well, which says, those people behind who are not at the high table do not need to be there if they are not speaking. Also, can we get a TV screen or banner that can be behind those speaking with key message like call 117 for help? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Noted. Yes. Okay. So the question of the bank.
Well, on the banking system, first of all, let me take the opportunity to say thank you to those who have sent comments, those who have asked questions. We always believe that our institution, we have to incorporate ideas. We don't have all the ideas. So the suggestions that you have, the suggestions that you have, the constructive criticisms that you make, they are all complementary. They complement us in substantial terms. So for that, I wish to say thank you very much. So with respect to the banking system and persons who may have been stranded in the process, I am aware, for example, that there were representatives from the Sierra Leone Commercial Bank here, and I am informed, unless there is contrary evidence, that e-passes were issued. I would assume that that may not be the case only for Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, but for other banking institutions. For persons, as you said, civil servants, well, in this case, we don't want to limit it to the concerns of civil servants, but anybody who is a citizen of Sierra Leone or anybody in this country who would think that you have any peculiar or special circumstance for which you need action to be expedited on your movement, we have said that the third category provides for such persons. Persons who may not necessarily have been provided for in category 1 that deals with essential goods, or category 2 that deals with essential services. If you have an extraordinary situation, we have appointed 16 district EOC coordinators. If you are not in Freetown or in the Western area, you find yourself in the provinces, you can make your case, canvass it to the district EOC coordinator, and I'm sure they can look at the merit of your case. It is not the intention of government to subject our people to undue hardship or undue inconvenience. I believe that with the emergency measures in place and with COVID-19, all of us are subjected to extraordinary social discomfort. It's a price that we have to pay, but as much as we can do as a government to cushion that effect, we will gladly do so. And we call on everybody. You don't necessarily have to be in the four walls of government. As private citizens, as NGOs, as civil society organizations, all of us must work together to make sure that we help one another. Hook a brother up, hook a sister up. Let all of us just see how we can cushion the effects and love one another. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We just have one more, and then, yeah.
Yes, so I want to know how you manage your information, because these days we read and see news on social media even before the press conference, and most of what we read on social media is what you will be reporting at the press conference.
Harold, speak to that.
Yeah, we have an SOP to that. We do give out information twice, well, in the morning at 11 a.m. and then if there is any update, we give real-time information to the public. But much as we want to give real-time information to the public, we also would want to take a little bit of time to cross-check and verify our information. We tell people what we know at the moment, and we keep updating them. But we do have an established SOP which goes through many channels before it is being signed off and then we release. Thank you very much.
But again, asthma, it's an issue that we are also thoroughly looking at. We believe that as an institution, we want to provide information in a timely manner, but we are also, once I started off in this new role, I have also been very concerned about it, and it is something that we are looking at. I personally called Minister of Information and Communications, and we spoke about it, and we are looking at ways to strengthen it and manage it. But we don't want to take such measures that at the end of the day might also jeopardize our pledge to provide information in a timely manner. So we try to strike a very nice and delicate balance between the two.
Someone asked about number of tests done so far.
Yes, sir.
Yes, all those requiring tests have been tested. All primary contacts and secondary contacts of high risk. So as of today, we have done 1,826 tests.
Okay, thank you. And we'll take the last comments from our Facebook page.
Thank you.
Yeah,
These are just comments. One is coming from Puna Sebu and Joanna. She says, I'm concerned about the mental health of the population, especially the young people in education and in demand and correctional facilities. At times like this, we have increased anxiety, stress, fear, and even PTSD. What is the government doing to promote the mental well-being of the whole population? One more from Vicky Remo. She says, I would also suggest that all sound equipment in this room and cameras are set up and fixed and tested again. There should be a camera just for EOC. It seems like every day there is a new setup. Find the best setup for sound and picture quality and do not move them. Thank you.
Okay, we note that.
What was the first one again?
Managing stress.
And post-traumatic stress disorder, and
want
how
speak
to
to
manage stress. Yeah, okay. For those in the quarantine homes, we have our psychosocial experts that are giving, counseling to the those in the quarantine homes and also to the isolation facilities. But for the public, that is why we are, giving sound and accurate information to the public, and so that they know what is happening, and we process the information in a way as not to, provide stress. But I would also advise everyone to, to be in like a stress-free mood. That is, talk to families and friends, discuss issues with other people so that you release stress, and also, get good exercise and just free your mind up. With time, then we will actually take this thing behind us. Thank you very much.
Yes, just as a supplement, I think the issue about the triggers for psychosocial pillar at the EOC, I think that there is a lot to be done. And at a time like this, it's an extremely difficult moment for all of us. As I often say, for example, when you look at the children, those going to school, if you take just 2 million kids in the free quality education system, all of a sudden they are forced out of school because of COVID-19. That also is a difficult moment for them. Parents, employees, public or private, all of us, security persons, healthcare workers, all of us, it's an extremely difficult moment. But I think this should trigger some further action on the part of our local NGOs, international NGOs, because if you are functioning in this country as a local NGO and you have a psychosocial pillar, or an international NGO and you have a psychosocial pillar, and at a time like this, a critical moment when the country needs you most, that is the time that you may have gone into your trenches. It doesn't augur well with respect to what you do. So I think this is a call for action. Government can do its own part, but what government does may not be enough to cover the psychosocial pillar. Indeed, as an EOC, there is a psychosocial pillar, but we are calling on all those organizations that have the psychosocial elements in their operations. This is the time to step up to the plate, and I think it's badly needed in the society. Vicky, your point on the sound and the picture, I think the communications technicians have taken that on board, and we'll see what we can do about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is where we would bring the curtain of today's press briefing to a close. Have a very good day and see you tomorrow at 11 a.m.